I've been attacked so many times. Death threats, I've been sexualized.
Big mama. Big mama. That big mama for real.
She literally sat up there and made up a false scenario to get sympathy, and none of it is true.
The WNBA chaos just got messier, and once again, Angel Reese is right in the eye of the storm. But this time, it's not about rough plays, post-game shade, or flashy antics. It's about how she's leaning into a hyper-sexualized public image.
Angel Reese is literally making up a whole scenario that don't exist.
Until the backlash hits, and suddenly she flips the script. Now she's back in the headlines, claiming to be the latest victim after facing harsh media criticism and getting booed by crowds.
Herself has said, do not sexualize me.
So what's the real story here? Why does Angel Reese keep putting herself in the spotlight, only to cry foul when it turns against her? Is it insecurity, arrogance, or is she caught in a game she never truly learned to play? This isn't just another court clash. It's a repeated pattern, and today we're unpacking every part of it.
Caitlin Clark would have. I mean, she is a stand-up person. Everything I have seen, she's just blown me away with her really, really gracious.
Angel Reese recently got emotional in a public statement, saying she's been targeted, threatened, and objectified ever since her championship win. But here's the twist. While she paints a picture of constant abuse, the spotlight has been nothing but generous. She's been featured on top magazine covers, secured major brand deals, and been widely applauded.
They won a national championship. They kissing her ashy elbows everywhere she go. She's celebrating in the WNBA even though she ain't even close to Caitlin Clark.
The truth, she's not being silenced. She's been celebrated. This victim narrative feels more like a strategy to divert attention from the decisions she's making herself. And those decisions, they keep sparking controversy.
I have great teammates. I have a great support system. I got my hometown. I got my family that stands up for me. I don't really get to speak out on things just because I just try to ignore, and I just try to stand strong. Like, I've been through so much. I've seen so much.
Just days after another heated on-court moment, Reese returned to social media with more provocative posts, risque outfits, overly sexualized visuals, and clips that have zero connection to basketball.
Big mama. Big mama. That big mama for real.
This isn't random. It's a cycle. She puts out content that fuels criticism, then accuses the world of being unfair when the backlash hits. The irony is hard to miss. She's crafting an image, then acting surprised when people respond to it. Things escalated again after a blatant foul on Caitlin Clark. Reese struck her across the head during a recent game.
Racist dumbasses over a foul in a WNBA game. They cry wolf left and right.
But instead of taking accountability, she doubled down, implying favoritism from refs by claiming, "Some people get special whistles." That move only poured gas on the fire, making her look more focused on deflecting blame than on owning her actions. Then came another firestorm, this time off the court.
It was a flagrant foul called on Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese and Aaliyah Boston assessed a technical foul.
Jason Whitlock absolutely scorching Angel Reese over her hate for Caitlin Clark.
Why hate Caitlin Clark? You're nothing without Caitlin Clark.
A WNBA promo featuring Reese wearing revealing attire and posing suggestively went viral, with many calling it unprofessional and tone-deaf. Fans and critics alike questioned whether she was more invested in her image than her performance, and it stirred real doubts about how seriously she wants to be taken as an athlete.
I think we went up really strong a lot of times, and we didn't get a lot of calls. And going back and looking at the film, I've seen a lot of calls that weren't made. I guess some people got a special whistle, but...
Finally, during a recent press conference, Reese broke down in tears. She opened up about the pressure, the threats, the constant criticism, and how much it's affected her behind the scenes. Since winning it all, she says she hasn't had a single moment to breathe. And to her credit, she's still showing up, still pushing forward. But her emotional cracks are beginning to show. This was a rare moment of vulnerability that grabbed headlines instantly, reminding everyone that behind the drama is someone clearly struggling to keep it all together.
I don't really get to stand up for myself. I have great teammates. I have a great support system. I got my hometown. I got my family that stands up for me. I don't really get to speak out on things just because I just try to ignore, and I just try to stand strong. Like, I've been through so much. I've seen so much.
It all kicked off with a heated moment during the Chicago Sky versus Indiana Fever matchup. Caitlin Clark made a clean, strategic foul on Angel Reese. Nothing excessive, just standard gameplay. But Reese didn't see it that way. She lashed out, emotions flared, and suddenly the conversation shifted from basketball to another off-court firestorm. Reese and her team later alleged they were targeted by racist comments from the crowd. Serious claims, but with no proof. No recordings, no footage, just accusations, mirroring what we saw last season. And that's where the disconnect begins.
Angel Reese is literally making up a whole scenario that don't exist.
I've been attacked so many times. Death threats, I've been sexualized.
I've been death threats, I've been sexualized. She's been celebrated, bruh.
It was about drama. Reese and her team claimed they were targeted with racial slurs by the crowd, but there's no evidence, no video, no audio, just accusations, just like last season.
The Indiana Fever basically got whatever free agent player they wanted. They put a super team around Caitlin Clark.
The bogus investigation that's going on by the WNBA.
So where does that leave us? Angel Reese continues to say one thing and do another, asking not to be sexualized, then jumping straight back into the spotlight with content that fuels that exact response. And when the criticism rolls in, it's the same playbook every time. Tears, press conferences, and the victim card. But here's the hard truth. When you build your brand on attention, you don't get to choose only the kind you like.
This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie, targeted by society, targeted by her looks, targeted by her reputation, targeted by the disrespect that they've shown to the WNBA.
I don't know why they are not taking a chance with West Bell. I mean, she got in late in the game. This is where she got her 2 points. And honestly, I think she's better at doing that than Angel Reese. She's better at doing that than Cardoso. So allow her to come in and supply that pressure from the big position.
You don't get to flash the camera and then cry foul when people react. And when your gameplay is no longer the headline, the noise you create off the court becomes the only thing people talk about. At some point, it's not about what the media says, it's about what you do. Angel Reese has talent, she has a platform, but until she decides to match her message with her actions, she's going to keep being called out, and rightfully so. People are no longer buying into the emotional manipulation, the constant contradictions, or the endless excuses. So to Angel, if you're tired of being seen a certain way, maybe it's time to stop feeding that image. Otherwise, don't be shocked when the reaction matches the brand you've built.
Like, the New York Liberty did not go for anything. They were chilling. Like, the Chicago Sky in the fourth quarter had their starters playing, but literally to end the game.
Following the backlash, Angel Reese was reportedly seen in tears after the game, telling close sources she felt betrayed by the league and media. She claims she was being unfairly targeted and stabbed in the back by those who once praised her. But instead of sympathy, many online slammed her emotional reaction as manipulative, saying she's playing the victim after fueling the fire herself. What was meant to be a moment of vulnerability has only deepened the divide between her and the public. Instead of support, some media voices and online critics twisted Angel's emotional moment into weakness, calling her a loser, claiming she brought it on herself by being too bold or confident. They ignore the abuse she faces and instead frame her breakdown as proof she can't handle the spotlight.
What's a lesbian look like? Angry. You got the angry African-American lesbian who just can't handle somebody coming into their league as a white girl with a bunch of...
The one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch. More people want to tune in.
It's a cruel narrative, one that overlooks the real pressure, the double standards, and the toxic attention that follows her every move. This isn't the first time Angel Reese played the victim. Last year, she celebrated a flagrant foul on Caitlin Clark and openly embraced the bad guy role. She even claimed she's the reason women's basketball is booming, downplaying Clark's impact. But when backlash hits, she flips the script, saying she's misunderstood, targeted, and now sexualized. You can't demand the spotlight, brand yourself as a sex symbol, then cry foul when it gets uncomfortable. That's the double standard she keeps pushing. There's one part of this entire story that no one in the mainstream seems willing to fully address.
Angel Reese still can't score layups. She had 5 turnovers to 1 assist. She was just chucking the ball out of bounds sometimes. This is a really, really ugly game.
The double standard that's been driving much of this controversy from the very beginning. Angel Reese wants to be praised like a role model, but behaves in a way that makes people question whether she deserves that status. Meanwhile, when someone like Caitlin Clark handles herself with professionalism and focus, it's labeled as privilege or bias. The media plays a huge role in this, often spinning Reese's behavior as empowered or unapologetic, while criticizing Clark for doing literally nothing but succeeding.
I was shocked that fans were shocked, so-called fans, with the physicality of the WNBA. You clearly haven't watched the WNBA. They are physical. And all of a sudden, it's Caitlin Clark's getting roughed up. It felt like they were zeroing in on our little Caitlin Clark and she's getting roughed up. Was she? Yes. But that's the physicality of this.
That's the issue. We're being told 2 different standards at the same time. If a woman wants to dress provocatively, flaunt her body, and dance for clicks, she's allowed to. Fine, that's freedom. But you can't have that same person demand to be seen as a serious professional while also portraying herself like a reality TV star online, especially when the person on the other side, in this case Caitlin Clark, is being held to a higher standard and still manages to rise above it without complaint.
Angel Reese got shut out entirely.
One of the worst games she's played as a professional.
In 16 seconds, Angel Reese, no points, 5 rebounds.
She can't actually rebound the ball. What she cannot do is shoot the ball.
Angel Reese is being protected by a shield of cultural defense, where any criticism is immediately labeled as racism or misogyny. But that defense breaks down when the criticism is clearly tied to her own choices, her words, her actions, her public image. This isn't about race. It's not about politics. It's about image, professionalism, and consistency. If someone wants to play the role of the bold, loud, fearless athlete, then they also need to take the heat that comes with it, and they need to stop flipping the script and crying victim every time it turns uncomfortable.
I think she hates the fact that she's not the star and that she sees it as white propaganda that Caitlin Clark is suddenly popular and everybody watches women's basketball because of Caitlin Clark. She hates it.
You can't promote yourself like a brand, chase fame through controversy, and then act shocked when people treat you like a product, not a person. That's not oppression. That's the exact game you signed up for. The same fans who see through fake humility also see through performative outrage. And no amount of tears at a press conference can undo the public's memory of what's already been posted, said, or worn in the name of engagement.
We've been having all this back and forth over that, over that. That's what we've been comparing to Caitlin Clark. Stop playing games. This girl just went 0 for 8, 2 for 6 from the free throw line. They lost by 35 and 25. Can y'all stop mentioning this girl with can we stop acting like that's even a rivalry? She's not a good enough player to have a rivalry with Caitlin Clark. I'm sorry. She's just not a good enough player. She's not good enough for this to be a rivalry. I'm sorry.
Ever since Angel Reese stood at that press conference and broke down in tears, talking about how she's been sexualized and sent death threats, the internet has been divided. Her emotional words struck a chord with some, but others couldn't ignore the irony. Because while she insists she's a victim of sexual objectification, her own actions online tell a different story. This isn't the first time she's leaned into that narrative, claiming she's under attack, that the media is targeting her, and that the world just doesn't want to see her succeed. But when you look at the full picture, the reality is that she's been celebrated far more than she's been vilified. The fame, the sponsorships, the attention, she's received it all. Still, instead of embracing that spotlight with professionalism, she's continually used it to stir up more drama and controversy. The contradiction becomes even more glaring when you visit her social media.
She's not good enough to be the best player on the team. And I don't think that's a non-basketball statement. You can say what you want. Angel Reese is an unbelievable fourth option, a good third option, a solid, a below average, but not horrendous second option, but the worst first option in the WNBA. Like she cannot score layups.
Angel Reese picking up right where she left off, breaking more WNBA records. But unfortunately for Sky fans, it came in the form of a loss, 99-74.
It may be time for Angel Reese to consider taking up a different game. I don't know what game she wants to possibly take up. I know one thing. She can't wait for the Unrivaled season to start at this point.
It's hard to take someone seriously when they say, "Don't sexualize me." But their Instagram is full of highly provocative content, booty-focused shots, dance clips, tight outfits, and angles designed to highlight everything but basketball. These aren't paparazzi leaks or private photos. This is what she chooses to share. So when critics call her out for it, and she claps back about being misunderstood or judged unfairly, people see right through it. It's not about policing what a woman wears, it's about the mixed messages. If you brand yourself a certain way, you don't get to complain when that branding works exactly how you designed it to. And of course, Caitlin Clark's name always ends up back in the conversation. Whether it's a flagrant foul on the court or a snide comment in an interview.
The weight of the burden of what did not transpire this past weekend also coming down on her. Because again, here we are, how many days later? This is Friday, that was Saturday. 6 days later.
Angel seems to orbit around Caitlin's success. That comparison hasn't helped her case either. Caitlin is focused, dominant, and widely respected not just for her talent, but for how she carries herself. Angel, on the other hand, is becoming known more for the drama surrounding her than for what she actually does in the game. And it's that inconsistency, the gap between what she says and how she acts, that's driving the backlash. People aren't angry because Angel Reese is confident or outspoken. They're tired of the victimhood narrative being used to shield her from valid criticism. If she wants the respect she claims she deserves, it has to start with accountability.
To say that Angel Reese is like a bad player.
One of the worst games she's played as a professional.
If Angel Reese, the first option in your team, is going to be the worst team in the WNBA.
It was the worst nightmare that the Chicago Sky and Angel Reese could have possibly imagined.
This was horrendous from the Chicago Sky.
At the end of it all, Angel Reese isn't fooling anyone anymore. The double standards, the contradictions, the emotional press conferences, it's all starting to feel like a carefully crafted performance. And the truth is, people are over it. If you want to be respected, it starts with consistency. If you want to be taken seriously, it starts with how you carry yourself, on and off the court. This isn't about tearing someone down. It's about holding people accountable for the image they put out, especially when they demand to be seen as a role model.
She's not good enough to be the best player on the team. And I don't think that's a non-basketball statement. You can say what you want. Angel Reese is an unbelievable fourth option, a good third option, a below average but not horrendous second option, but the worst first option in the WNBA. Like she cannot score layups.
Angel Reese has the platform, the talent, and the attention. But until she starts owning her role instead of playing the victim every time, this cycle of backlash and outrage is going to keep repeating. What do you think? Is Angel Reese being unfairly targeted, or is she creating her own controversy? Let me know in the comments below. I read every one of them, and I want to hear your take. If you got value from this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next breakdown. There's always more to uncover, and we're just getting started. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
She's not good enough to be the best player on the team. And I don't think that's a non-basketball statement. You can say what you want. Angel Reese is an unbelievable fourth option, a good third option, a below average but not horrendous second option, but the worst first option in the WNBA. Like she cannot score layups.
Angel Reese picking up right where she left off, breaking more WNBA records. But unfortunately for Sky fans, it came in the form of a loss, 99-74.
It may be time for Angel Reese to consider taking up a different game. I don't know what game she wants to possibly take up. I know one thing, she can't wait for the Unrivaled season to start at this point.
At the end of the day, the act is wearing thin. The contradictions, the victim card, the emotional appeals, it's all starting to feel more like strategy than sincerity. And honestly, people are catching on. Respect doesn't come from headlines or social media posts. It comes from consistency. If you want to be seen as a role model, it starts with how you show up, both in the game and in the spotlight. This isn't about hate, it's about accountability. When you've got the platform, the influence, and the eyes of an entire league on you, how you use that matters. Angel Reese has the talent. She's got the reach. But until she owns her role and stops deflecting every time criticism hits, this cycle of drama and backlash is going nowhere. But hey, what do you think? Is Angel Reese being unfairly singled out, or is she fueling the fire herself? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. If this video gave you something to think about, hit that like button, subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. We're just getting warmed up. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.